Hey again, and welcome to another episode of Success Builders. Today we have with us Louis Swart. I had to ask him how to say his name. Was it Lois? Was it Louis? And then he said, "What did you say?"
Like
It
Louis
was
Vuitton.
like Louis Vuitton, exactly. That's the one. Where are you calling in from, Louis?
I'm actually from Sydney. So originally from South Africa,
Yeah, like
moved
me.
to, moved to Sydney. Love it, man. Love it, love it.
Cool, awesome. All right, we are very interested to hear a bit about what you do and your life journey on how you got to where you are now and what you're currently doing. So feel free to start us wherever you like in your history and your story, and we'll just listen attentively, all right?
Okay, perfect. Um, well, when I was 25, I had a plumbing business. I built up a plumbing business. I had 10 plumbers. And when you're 25, you're like bulletproof, hey? Like nothing can touch you, yeah? And I got 25 plumbers. I'm making cash. I think I'm set for life. And then I approached a broker and I said, "Hey, listen, I want to sell my business because I was moving up to Johannesburg, another city, to go and do some stuff." And the broker said, "Louis, your business is worth nothing." And I can tell you, it was devastating because I was like, I thought I was going to retire. I thought he's going to say like, "That's it, you never have to work again. Buy yourself a yacht." But he said, "Look, how am I going to find somebody that's going to do what you do? How am I going to find, because he said to me, who does the accounts?" And I do it. Who does the hiring? I do it. Who does the quality control? I do it. Who does everything? Well, I do it. And he goes, "I've got to find somebody that's exactly like you and can do all of these things and be a plumber and want to work the crazy hours that you work." And that really set me on this journey of trying to learn how to delegate. How do I delegate and how do I put systems in place so that the next time I had a business, I could actually just get it so that somebody could just walk in, right? And so I started this whole journey. I started another business with my brother, and that business we did public telephones. It was kind of before mobile phones were a really big thing, and we grew that business to having 200 staff. And when it came time to sell that business, we actually spoke to the accountant and said, "Look, we want to sell." The accountant said, "I'll have money for you in 2 weeks' time." And we sold for 5 million 2 weeks later.
Good.
Um, and the reason that we were able to do that is because they knew that we now had somebody doing the books. We now had somebody doing the hiring. We now had somebody buying the equipment. We now had somebody maintaining the vehicles. We had delegated everything in the business. Okay. So we could just we could sit in a meeting and we could say, "Okay, what's happening here? What's happening there?" And the guys that bought it, it was pretty much just five guys bought it. They came in, sat in an office and ran it from there. And so that really started my journey of, just realizing how important systems and processes and delegating was, because I think most of us went into business because most of us go into business for one of three reasons. Okay. We want more time. We want time to spend with our family and friends and doing the things we love. Or we want to build this business and then we want to be able to sell it. Okay.
Yeah.
Or we want to be like a KFC or build it, leave a legacy, leave a business for our grandkids. And all three of those have got one thing in common. You're not in the business.
Yeah. It's actually like the Robert Kiyosaki cash flow quadrant.
Yeah.
Um, so when you were a plumber, you were the S for self-employed, right?
Mm.
And now you've moved over to the right-hand side of the quadrant. You're the B for business owner.
Yeah.
It's the same sort of thing, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. So part of this whole delegation process was I then moved when I moved to Australia, I had a couple of businesses. I had some businesses that were epic fails, epic fails. Okay. Um, but the last business that we had was a labor hire business, and we built it over 8 years to turning over like 35 million with 450 staff. And it was heaps of processes. And the one thing that I discovered that really, really boosted us above the competition was I started doing outsourcing. I started getting staff from the Philippines. Now, I went online and I read about it and I was like, You mean I can get people for $3 an hour? Like, how's that possible? Imagine what I could do if I could get people for $3 an hour. Because I had accounts people and I was paying them like 80,000 a year, and then you've got, in Australia, it's the $21.30 is the minimum wage,
Yeah, similar to you.
plus super, 12%, plus workers' comp, plus, insurance, plus payroll tax, plus, all these pluses. So over the space for about 5 years, I put 18 staff offshore. And just those 18 staff offshore saved $45,000 a month in wages. I mean,
Oh, that's
it's
huge.
mind blowing. Hey, mind blowing. So when I got out of that business, I wanted to be able to help the smaller businesses to be able to kick off. I wanted to help the smaller businesses to get the same advantages that the big guys have got. Because I mean, literally, the big guys are just monopolies. Hey, they're just taking over everywhere, and the small business is really hard. I mean, it doesn't matter, what small business you're in. You're literally really hard, and somehow we're ending up paying the most tax. We've ended up good with the most restrictions on us. Staff have got unbelievable rights, like unbelievable rights. It's not geared towards a small business succeeding. And I mean, the whole economy runs on the small business success. Small businesses have to succeed, otherwise, and so I've got this passion to help smaller businesses. So I went into business coaching, and basically I just come into a business, I look at what you're doing, and then I help you to put in systems, processes. If you haven't got, SOPs, for example, the standard operating procedures.
Yeah.
If you don't have those in your business, I'll show you there's some AI that you can use. There's an AI called Genius, and you can literally just go on your computer and do something, and it creates a whole SOP for that. So the next time, you can imagine when you're training staff, okay? And what happened with me was I've tried all the different staff training ways. I tried hey, I'll train the first guy and he'll train the second guy and they'll train. And we played that. I don't know if you played that game when we were young. We played a game. It was called Chinese Whispers. Don't know if that's politically correct anymore, but where you would tell a secret, you tell somebody and then they tell somebody. Do you
And
remember
then it
that game?
changes by the time it gets back to you. It's something
Yeah,
completely
yeah,
different. Yeah, yeah.
yeah. It's completely different. Any case, it does exactly the same with adults in business. I can just tell you. Okay. You tell the guy and then you go out on site and you go, "What are you doing, man?" And he's like, "Well, that's what the guy before told me." So that didn't work. Okay. Then I tried, actually going, what, I will train everybody myself. The first guy, amazing training. Second guy, kind of averagey training. Third guy, no real training. By the fourth and fifth guy, you're just like, okay, mate, you kind of got an idea what to do because now you've got busy. So then I had to learn better ways to do it. I had to learn how do I put systems and structures in place so that I can actually make this process. So things like if I'm on a meeting and I'm telling you what to do, I would get the meeting recorded. So I would record the meeting, and then at the end of the meeting, I'd say, "Okay, Ricardo, I need you to do up a SOP for that, and I also need you to do up a checklist." So, let's say we're putting on a new staff member. We should have a checklist, an onboarding checklist. What have we given them access to in our company? What software have we given them access to? What equipment have we given them access to? What training have we given them access to? What of our socials have we given them access to? And then when they leave, we have an offboarding checklist. So we make sure that, okay, I gave Ricardo access to my Facebook. I now need to make sure I take Ricardo's access to my Facebook away. I've given him access to these stuff on site, and I need to make sure I take all of that access away. This was the equipment I gave him that I can get back. And so it comes down to even small things like that, which we can use. And, in this new era now with AI, it's super exciting, eh? Super, super exciting. But what if a lot of us are doing is we're going out there and we're going, "Oh, there's so much AI. I don't know what to do. What program do I use?" What we do is we actually train all of our VAs to use AI. So they already know how to use AI. So when they come into your business, you don't have to learn how to do it. They already know how to do it.
Right.
So, the saying goes, AI is not going to take your job, but somebody who's using AI
Will.
is
Yeah.
is going to
Yeah.
take your job.
That's right.
So, a lot of us go like, well, I'm not really tech savvy. You don't have to be tech savvy, you know. Um, I had the one lesson that I've learned in business is you can hire people that are way, way, way smarter than you for like ridiculously low amounts of money. You know, I had two IT guys working for me, and the one guy got 99.8% in his HSC, which is like his end of the year exam. I just kind of scraped through. You know what I mean? And he's on tiny amount of money. And so that's what it is. It's not about you knowing how to do it. It's about you knowing where do you find the people that know how to do it. How do you hire and look after the people that know how to do it? Because then you're set.
Yeah.
So
And
yeah.
with the VAs, are there certain job descriptions that they tend to be best used for? Um, um, like for example, are there any things that you don't recommend a VA for? Like for example, sales. Do you recommend VA for sales, or maybe for management or finance? You don't recommend a VA, or can VAs do pretty much everything?
Um, that's a very good question. Very good question. So just like in any other country, there's a whole lot of different people. We've all got different personalities, okay? So, if you want somebody for sales, you're not going to get like an accountant type person. You're not going to get somebody who's detail orientated. If somebody's attention to detail, they're probably not going to be a good salesperson. Okay. The
Yeah,
salesperson is like, hey man, I could sell you the world and it's going to be awesome. And you're going to just put your name on it and it's going to be amazing. Whereas the detail person will be like, how are we possibly going to do that? Okay. It's not physically possible. Whereas the salesperson's just like, yeah, yeah, we can do this. So any role that you can do online, any role that you can do using, a computer, basically we can get a VA to do that. So we've got incredibly good people that can do sales. We've got accounts is a really big component for us. So we support bookkeepers and accountants, and we that role is really big. We do a lot of marketing people, so we put people into businesses where they organically grow your. You can grow your Facebook and your LinkedIn, all your socials. You can grow them organically. So there's some super basic things that you can do. One of them is just by commenting on other people's posts. It's so overlooked. People try and create content, whereas if you just comment and share other people's posts, it boosts your profile massively, massively. Um, and then they can do sales, they can do the marketing. When you do traffic control and you see the lollipop people,
yes,
the
yes,
stop go person.
yeah, that's right.
So we supply a whole lot of people to a company that does traffic control.
Oh yeah,
So all the plans, when they're going to do that, when they're going to stop the traffic, they have to submit a plan, and the plan is basically 1 kilometer either side and all the roads on the sides, and they do up a whole drawing, and then they submit that to the council to say these are the roads that we're going to affect and block off and everything. We've got a team in the Philippines that does that. So they do all that. We've got some engineers in the Philippines that do they design there's like big government tenders. When the government tenders come out, they go to the team in the Philippines and they have a look through it and say you should do this and this and this and this. And then they give it to the Australian team, and then the Australian team has a look and then decides what to do with it going forward from there. Um, we've got we've got solicitors who are with legal companies, doing like paralegal work with them. um the whole the whole range, of things. Um, yeah, unbelievable. I actually went
That,
to a call. I went to a
yeah,
call center where there was a big one of the supermarket chains. I won't
yeah,
tell you the name, but one of the main supermarket chains in Australia, and they had this whole room just with TV screens all the way around. Okay, and they
yeah,
had all these people sitting there, and you go, somebody goes on Facebook and says, "Hey, I went and just got a lettuce, and the lettuce has gone all soggy, you know, and I expect better from XYZ supermarket." And then I watched VAs in the Philippines going, "Oh, I'm so sorry to hear about that. This is Bob from your local supermarket. Okay, we pride ourselves in giving you really quality fruit and veg. I'd love you to come in, and I'd love to replace it. Da 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 da." And unbelievable. The person just thinks that they've spoken to Bob, their local manager, their local supermarket,
wow,
um,
that's
and
crazy
they've spoken to
response.
some
Yeah,
guy offshore. Um, the other thing that I saw was, there was a big furniture removal company,
yeah,
and what they did was they actually they did what they call data mining. So data mining is where I'm looking for you. I'm not waiting for you to look for me. So furniture removal, when you're going to need your furniture, when you're going to need your furniture removed, you get a
when you're
promotion.
moving,
You get a promotion at work. You're
when
probably
you
going to,
sell your house or something like that, yeah, as well.
yeah, you sell your house, you get divorced, any one of those. So literally, they've got these guys that are on socials and they're looking for divorce, promotion, fired.
Oh,
They're looking
crazy.
for these keywords. So you
That's
go,
so
"Oh, I
clever.
just got fired today. It sucks, hey." And then you get a message saying, "Hey, if you're looking at moving your house, we've got a furniture removal truck that we can do it with." So, you not you just go, "Oh, how did these guys know that I was doing that?" Because they're actually watching your socials. They actually
No way.
watch
That's quite creepy in a way.
they're watching you on socials. Yeah. And then hey, how's this? Hey, so there's a guy and he calls and he's from a Kudamundra or some random place, okay? And the girl's sitting there and she's got three screens.
Mhm.
And he calls and he goes, "Hey, it's Barry from Kudamundra." And she's like, "Hey, Barry, how you going?" And "What's your address?" And she types in his address. And on the one screen, Google Satellite comes up, right?
Mhm.
And he goes, "Yeah, yeah, this is my address." And she goes, "Oh, yeah, Barry, I know the house. You've got the steep driveway," because she's looking at the Google Satellite picture.
Yeah,
She goes, "Oh, yeah, I know the house.
that's
You've
re
got the steep
real
driveway
personalization. Yeah.
and the big tree. Like, is it, are we going to have to bring stuff up the driveway? Can we get a truck down there?" And he's like, "Oh, yeah, you know the place. Yeah, yeah." And like, as far as he's concerned, she's like a neighbor, right? Because she's used data wisely. She used the information wisely.
That's so interesting because I actually learned something similar. I did business information systems and marketing at University of Natal.
Mm.
And even back then, they were teaching the importance of associating data with the client. So, like, they in one of the business management classes, they were talking about how this one company had a CRM system connected to the phones, the phone directory,
Yeah.
or their yeah, no, no, sorry, to the PABX. Okay. So when the client used to phone in, it used to pull up the client record, and then in that record we'll have all the things like how many children they have, when's their birthday, if they have a spouse or not. So you have all of these fine details that you can then use to make a more personal connection with the client. You say, "Hey,
Yeah.
how's the wife doing?" Or, "Hey, how's your kids doing? They must be older by now," or whatever.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, so that is definitely something that they were talking about even way back then,
Mm.
and not many companies implement that today. So you're spot on. I mean, everything you said is just exactly spot on. Um, yeah. Um, so now, are there certain types of businesses that well, or shall I rather say, do you work with certain business sizes? Like, do you prefer, like small to medium businesses or medium to large businesses? Is there a cutoff point that you need a business to be sort of at a certain level before you come in, or do you work with anybody?
No, I basically work with the small to medium guys. Um,
Okay.
I currently work with the small to medium. That's where I think I can add the most value. So, yeah. Yeah, and I've got two services. The one service is obviously I've got the virtual assistant business,
Hmm.
but then on the other side I've got a coaching business where I come into a business and I say, okay, what are we doing? Um, I've got a small package where I can work with a business for 8 weeks. So I put a virtual assistant into your business and then I work with you for 8 weeks. Or if you've already got a virtual assistant, I'll work with you for 8 weeks and I show you how to get the best systems and processes out of that person.
Okay, cool.
It's some cool stuff you can do, okay? If you want to, let's say you want to boost let's say you want to boost your Facebook, okay?
Hmm.
Now, commenting, like I said before, horribly underrated. Okay. If you go and look at if you go and look at your competitors, go and look at your competitors' posts, and you'll see if they've got a comment on a post, it's a lot. Okay. Lots of times they'll have a comment and it'll be from them. Now, if you put a comment on their post, everybody that's seeing their post is seeing the comment,
Exactly.
right? So, and the best way to do a comment is you use a ChatGPT prompt. So the prompt that we use is just like, hey, I'm a podcaster and I'm looking for guests for my podcast. Um, I aim mainly at businesses. I'm looking for people that are going to be, um, you know, um business related and have a good story. And I'd like you to put sort of phrase my response around that. And I'd like you to make it like a 1 or 2 sentence response, and I'd like the response to be in the tone of, funny, happy, sad, whatever. I do mine in the thing of Ryan Reynolds. So just, on
I
the
love Ryan Reynolds.
personality. Yeah, so I do mine on the personality of Ryan Reynolds. Um, and then you just go, do you understand? And it goes, yes. And then you pretty much just copy your post and I put it in there. ChatGPT spits out an answer, super well crafted, thought out answer. Okay, I copy that, I put it onto your post, and then I go to the next one, copy the next post, put it into ChatGPT, spits out an answer, copy it, put it back onto your
It's
post,
so good. This is gold. This is really good.
and we can churn through hundreds of comments. You can churn through hundreds of comments because you're literally copying, pasting, copying, pasting, copying, pasting, copying, pasting. Um, and then the more comments you've got out there, the more people are, if you look at any post,
Yeah.
you always have a quick look at the comments. You always
Yeah.
have a quick look at the comments. And if you've got somebody that's funny or something in the comments, you generally would just click on it and go, who's this guy? Again, click on it. And because you've told ChatGPT you're looking for businesses, it's kind of going to gear everything towards what you've told it. Okay. And then funnel them back to you.
Wow, this is so cool.
So,
This is such
oh,
good value for our audience. This is amazing. I'm actually going to try
yeah,
that after this call.
yeah, yeah.
Do you mainly do it on PC or on mobile? Which one do you find easier to do?
Look, we on PC, it's very easy for the cut and paste. So cut and
Yeah.
paste is super easy. Um, I'll tell you another chat GPT. I've got a couple of chat GPT hacks
Yeah.
if you're interested. If you're
Yeah,
interested.
please, please, please. Yes.
So
We love this.
another one that we do is if you actually, what a lot of us do is we actually go into ChatGPT and a lot of us don't know how to use it properly. So first of all, we go into ChatGPT and we talk to it. And then we come back later on and we type in again. We open a new chat and we type again. Every time you open a new chat, it's a brand new, you're starting fresh every single time. So if you open a chat and you're talking about your podcast, everything needs to go back into that same chat. So you need to select that chat and then carry on talking about your podcast because it's learned from the previous stuff. Now, I don't know if you've seen on ChatGPT on your mobile, you can actually talk to your ChatGPT now. Have you seen that?
I haven't noticed, no.
Yeah, so it's got two different ones. So on the one, you can literally, if we go onto ChatGPT,
Let me try that now myself.
yeah, so I'll just show you. So there's my ChatGPT,
Oh yeah?
okay? And you see this button, there's a button over here, there's a microphone. If
Mm-hmm.
I click on the microphone, I can talk and then I can hit enter. All
Oh
right.
yeah?
So that's one way. The other way is this. Okay. So the other way is this, where I just click on this button.
Oh yeah?
Okay, so let's try this. Let's try this. I'll tell you what it says. Hey, ChatGPT.
I'm ready to hit the ground running. So if there's anything you'd like me to focus on first,
What's up?
I'm good. I'm just on a podcast at the moment. Do you want to tell them a little bit about me?
Absolutely. Annalene is a dynamic business coach specializing in helping coaches to delegate, elevate,
Well, your
accelerate
name is
their
Annalene now.
and the process of mastering delegation, stepping out of the daily grind, and fast tracking their growth. She brings humor and a touch of Ryan Reynolds' charm to her coaching, making the journey both effective and entertaining.
Why
So
it's doing
good.
that is why it's doing that is because I actually accidentally put Annalene into my chat. You know how I told you every time it's got to be a new one?
Yeah, yeah.
You'll be surprised how much it actually knows about you. It knows a ridiculous amount about us, you know. And so if you want to get really good responses, just you basically click that button and then just talk to it. So just walk around and say, hey, this is what I really like. This is what I want to do. When I want to reach out to customers, this is how I'm trying to help them. I came from South Africa, and it will talk to you just like a normal person. And you just literally tell it your life story. And then when you ask it to create content, it goes from all that life story that you've given it. And you can imagine that the content that you get is incredible, incredible compared to
Yeah.
compared to what you would normally get from just saying, hey, because imagine if I went in and I said, hey, write me a story about write me a story about a wolf and Red Riding Hood and a wolf. It doesn't know if I'm 5 or if I'm 105. So it'll write a story somewhere in between that's kind of generic for all of us. But if I go, man, I'm into super gory stuff, my favorite movie is Saw, da da da, and then I say, write me a Red Riding Hood story. You can imagine it will be way, way different
Yeah,
to
because it'll be tailored to your
yeah,
personality and things that you like. That's
yeah,
actually really cool, and it could be actually a really fast way to also write a book as well. I'm
absolutely,
just thinking. Um, so spend some time prepping ChatGPT, about who you are as the author, and
yeah,
then ask it to write a book in your style after you've fed it some information about what you like and don't like and whatever.
yeah,
And then you become the editor of your own book rather than the writer of your book. So then you go back in and the bulk of the work's done and you can just edit it. Um, and then there's your finished book. So you can cut down, book writing into, a couple of days rather than weeks and months.
yeah,
Yeah, I
yeah.
think that could be something you could do.
So there's actually a site called Bookle.ai.
Oh,
It's
yeah?
like book KLE, Bookle.ai. And you can actually write a whole book in there. So I'll tell you what I did. Tell you what I
Yeah.
did. So I've always been like, I want to write a book, okay? So a year ago, one Saturday afternoon, I had a couple of beers and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna write a book. Hey, I haven't written a book. I'm gonna write a book this afternoon. I thought it'd be funny if I get AI to write a book about AI, right? And then I put it onto Amazon. I thought that'd be funny. So I wrote a book called Boost Your Business with AI. Okay. Um, and I put it onto Amazon and I got bestseller on Amazon
No
for
ways.
the book that I literally wrote in an afternoon. And then I was like, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to write 30 books in 30 days. But I never got around to that. But literally it's that easy. You could, you write it, it comes up with all the info, you edit it a bit, off you go.
Okay. And what length books does it do, or doesn't it really matter? Does it do all sorts of lengths?
You can do all sorts of lengths. So the one of the ways that you get around the length thing is you go, hey, I'm looking at writing a book about how to run a successful podcast. What would you say are 12 things that I should have as chapters? And it'll go bing, 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 bing. Here's the 12 chapters. And then you go, okay, please expand chapter number 1 in 2000. All right. Okay. So what are 10 things that you would highlight, or what are 3 things you'd highlight in chapter 1? I'd highlight these 3 things. Okay, write 10,000 words about each of those 3 things. And then it'll write it. And then you go, okay, chapter 2, what are 3 things? Write 10,000 words about each of those. So you're writing it in kind of stages. You're not just going, hey, write me a book.
Right,
Whereas,
right. So you start with the contents first, yeah.
yeah, whereas Bookle, you can actually write the whole thing. I should get affiliate from Bookle, hey? Yeah.
Yeah. You should.
So, okay, do you want another
Please.
super cool,
Yes, I
another
love
super
this.
cool tip? Okay.
Loving this.
So on AI, you know that when we're selling to people,
Mm.
when we're looking for customers, there's a couple of things that we want to do. One of them is we want to know what are their fears, frustrations, dreams, and desires. Yeah. You know
Mm.
those four things. So what we do is we go into ChatGPT and we say, hey, I'm a podcaster, I'm doing XYZ. And you tell it a bit about you and what you're doing. And then you tell it about your target market, who your target market is. And then you ask it, please create me a table, okay? And with the x-axis being, um, fears, frustrations, dreams, and desires, and list the top 10 fears, frustrations, dreams, and desires. And what it does is it comes up with a table, and it's got fears, all the dreams, all the fears, all the dreams.
Frustrations? Yeah.
Yeah, fears, frustrations, dreams, desires. So, it might say that a fear is the fear that they've got to pay for the podcast. And the frustration might be they've been scammed before. And the dream might be just that they can find a podcast that's really cool to work on. And the desire might be to actually, the desire might be to find a podcast that's cool to work on. And the dream might be to get their name out there. And then you take those four and you create a blog post or you create a Facebook post based on those. So, hey, have you always wanted to create be on a podcast and you just like you've been scammed before, you don't want to have to pay for it because you're really dreaming of, one day being able to get your name out there and, publish it. Well, I'm the guy you should talk to. And so because you've got 10 of them, you can literally do any fear, any frustration, any dream, desire, as long as they're in that order. Okay.
Yeah.
The other thing you can do is you can actually ask it to write you out 20 hooks. So you can say,
Right.
hey, I'm creating Facebook posts and I would like you to give me 20 hooks that are going to, really, really catch people's attention, and get sort of viral status. I want you to use the, fear of missing out. I want you to use any of the psychological tools that will actually going to be able to draw them in. And then you let it give you 20 hooks. So now you've got 20 hooks with all those things. And now you go back in again and you say, for those 20 hooks,
Okay.
can you give me a metaphor for each one that's relevant to my target audience?
Yeah.
Okay, that they'll quickly understand and will actually identify with the thing. So then what it'll do is it'll come back and it'll give you all of those. So it'll give you the hook and it'll give you the metaphor. So you've got a hook, which is the start of your video, and you've got a metaphor, which is the end of your video.
Yeah, which is your story. Basically, it's like a story hook.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'll tell you one that I did. I've just did
Sure,
one.
go for it.
I went to the Sydney Harbour, and there was a big cruise ship. So I got ChatGPT out, and I'm like, hey, I'm standing here by a cruise ship. Can you give me a metaphor that relates to a cruise ship? Can you give me a hook? Can you give me a metaphor that relates to a cruise ship? And I went, okay, I can't remember what the hook was, but it's something like, are you the captain of your own destiny? All right.
Oh, that's good.
Okay. So it was like, are you the captain of your own destiny? And then I had the fears, frustrations, dreams, and desires. So, are you scared that your business is just taking over your life? Do you feel like, it's just taking everything that you've got? Do you want to be able to just do what you enjoy doing, and be able to have the free time to spend with your family? So I've used the fears, frustrations, dreams, and desires in the middle. And then at the end, I've said, imagine it's like being on a big cruise ship and you're the captain. You're not going to run around and clean the rooms. You're not going to run around and make sure people have got fed. You are going to be directing that cruise ship towards where you need to go. So you've got staff that's doing that. And in your business, you can have VAs that are doing that while you heading your cruise ship into, the next destination.
So good. That is so beautiful, actually.
So
Such a good image.
yeah, so just, and I mean, it's all just the way we talk to ChatGPT.
Yeah. And that actually ties in exactly with what you're doing um, about helping business owners to step away from their business and try and automate and delegate as much as possible. So they literally become the captains of their own destiny rather than the workers in their destiny, you
Yeah,
know. So
yeah,
that's a huge distinction. I think a lot of the times, it's fear that creeps in, like if I let go of this part of my business, will that person do as good a job as me, or will they mess something up, or whatever? I think those are some of the limiting beliefs and fears that we'll end up having, and we just need to break through those because i if you don't have a team, if you don't have um, a crew, just yourself as the captain trying to wear all the hats, you're not going to have a very successful cruise ship. It's not probably won't even
yeah,
leave the harbor in the first place.
yeah, absolutely. You'll be down serving people in the, serving meals to people, and the cruise ship will just be there running out of petrol or diesel or
Yeah,
whatever. I don't know.
exactly. Exactly.
So
So super
yeah.
powerful. And well, we learned such amazing things. I'm actually going to go try some of those things that you told me today. Um, so that's going to be super fun. Starting with the comment one, I'm going to go do that one first, I think. And then I
Yeah.
also want to write a book. I might as well write a book.
If
That's
you
going to be
need any
interesting.
help, honestly, just reach
Yeah,
out to me. Yeah,
I will do.
you can reach out to me on Facebook. It's just Louis Swart,
Yes,
SW Louis like Louis Vuitton, and then
yes,
Swart as in SWART.
that's
Um,
perfect.
yeah,
And
and
we'll add the links to the description as well so that it's possible to get
awesome,
hold of you. So that's
awesome.
awesome. So thank you so much for being on our podcast today. Would you like to leave the audience with any final message, or advice or tip or anything?
Yeah, if it's okay to do some
Mm,
self promotion,
go
I
for it.
actually run a free 5-day course where
Okay.
it's you work with me for 5 days, one on one for free. Okay. And I look at your business and I look at how we can help you, what systems and processes we can put in. Um, and it's open to any small businesses. So literally it's working with me for free for 5 days to try and see if I can help you. And all I ask at the end is a testimonial, if you like it, or a referral, or I can show you what it would be like to work with me ongoing if you're interested. So
That sounds amazing. And
yeah,
I would definitely encourage anyone to take advantage of that because the value that we saw today in this podcast was just next level. And that's just a glimpse of what you'll be able to get from Louis. So thank you for being on the show. It was amazing having you here. And to the viewers out there, remember to always dream big and build bigger. I'll see you next time. Cheers.
awesome. Thank you so much for having me.
No problem. Thanks for being on.